walking down the street, camera capturing the city lights at night. Hello my friends, welcome back to The Road Growing Up. This channel is a place where we walk together through the streets, but also through life, sharing stories, experiences, and lessons that help us grow a little stronger every day. Before we dive in, thank you so much for supporting this channel. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments, because this isn't just my journey, it's ours. Now, let's talk about something many young people secretly feel but rarely admit out loud: that uncomfortable feeling of hating your manager, your supervisor, or even your boss. It happens so often. You're fresh in your first job, full of energy, excited to prove yourself. But after just a few weeks, suddenly every time your manager points out a mistake, every time they correct you or give you instructions, you feel irritated, frustrated, or even angry. You start asking yourself, why do they always pick on me? Why can't they just let me work in peace? Why do they make me feel so small? If you've ever had those thoughts, don't worry, you're not alone. Almost everyone between 18 and 30 goes through this at some point. But here's the thing. Sometimes what feels like hate is actually an opportunity for growth that we just don't see yet. Let's be honest. Nobody likes being told they're wrong, especially when you've just started working. You want to prove that you're capable, smart, and independent. But then reality hits. Your manager corrects you on small details. That report isn't formatted correctly. You missed an important step in the process. You need to communicate more clearly with the team. At first, you might think, why are they so strict? Why do they keep pointing out my flaws instead of recognizing my effort? This is a natural emotional reaction. When someone criticizes us, especially in front of others, it feels like an attack on our self-worth. It's not really about the mistake itself. It's about our pride, our desire to feel respected. For many young workers, this is the first real clash between school life and work life. In school, teachers might go easier on you, or you can get by with minimum effort. But at work, even small mistakes can have real consequences. And managers, their job is to make sure you improve, because your mistakes don't just affect you, they affect the whole team. So why do we hate them? Because deep down, we confuse correction with rejection. Instead of seeing their feedback as guidance, we feel it as personal criticism. Imagine this: you just finished your first presentation at work. You stayed up late, preparing slides. You thought you nailed it, but afterwards, your manager says, "Good job on the effort, but your data analysis was weak. Next time, make sure to check your sources more carefully." You smile on the outside, but inside, you're fuming. I worked so hard. Why can't they appreciate me instead of criticizing me? Or maybe you spent hours on a project, and your boss says, redo this section. It's not clear enough. You think, do they even realize how much time I put into this? Why do they only see what's missing? These moments sting, and because of that sting, we start to associate negative emotions with our managers. It feels like they're the bad guy, while we're just trying our best. But here's the twist. If you talk to people who've been in the workforce for 10, 15, or 20 years, many will tell you that the toughest managers they once hated ended up teaching them the most important lessons. It's almost like a paradox. What feels like harsh criticism today often becomes the exact wisdom that shapes us tomorrow. Why do we feel this way? Let's break it down. 1. Ego versus growth. Our ego wants validation, not correction, But growth only happens when we face our flaws. 2. Short-term versus long-term thinking. We want to feel comfortable in the short term. Managers are thinking long-term about the project, the team, the company. Their job isn't to make us feel good. It's to make sure things get done right. 3. Projection of authority. When you're young, authority feels intimidating. Any instruction from above can feel like control or domination, but in reality, it's guidance, even if it's not sugar-coated. 4. Lack of perspective. We don't yet see the bigger picture. We only see our effort, not the impact of mistakes on the entire team. Understanding these points doesn't mean the frustration disappears overnight, but it helps us reframe the situation. Maybe it's not about them being bad, but about us learning to manage our emotions in a professional environment. If you keep holding on to the feeling of hating your manager, here's what happens. You stop listening to their feedback. You miss valuable lessons that could improve your skills. Your performance stagnates. You carry unnecessary negativity every day at work. Worse, this mindset follows you wherever you go. Even if you quit and join another company, the same thing happens with the new boss. Because the issue isn't just the manager, it's the way you perceive authority and criticism. Some young people even quit jobs quickly because they can't stand their boss. But in doing so, they never build resilience, patience, or the humility to learn from others. And without those qualities, career growth becomes very slow. It's like trying to grow a tree, but pulling it out of the soil every time the sun feels too hot. You'll never see the fruits if you don't stay long enough to absorb the lessons. So how do we change this mindset? Here are some shifts in perspective. See managers as mentors, not enemies. Even if their style is strict, their intention is usually to improve performance. Focus on the message, not the tone. Maybe they said it harshly, but what if their feedback is valid? Turn criticism into curiosity. Instead of feeling attacked, ask, how can I do this better? Remember why you're there. You're not at work to be liked or validated every day. You're there to learn, earn, and grow. When you reframe this relationship, you stop wasting energy on resentment and start channeling it into progress. Over time, your skills improve, your confidence grows, and ironically you start gaining the respect you wanted all along. At the end of the day, hating your manager doesn't change them, but it can destroy your motivation. Loving your growth, however, changes everything. Think about it this way, 10 years from now, will you remember how annoying your boss tone was? Or will you remember the skills you built, the experiences you gained, the mistakes you turned into strengths? Work isn't just about money. It's about shaping your character. And sometimes, the lessons that hurt the most are the ones that help us grow the fastest. So the next time your manager points out a mistake, take a deep breath. Instead of thinking, they hate me, try thinking, this is my chance to get better. And if you can master this mindset in your 20s, you'll be unstoppable in your 30s and beyond. Share your story in the comments. I'd love to read your experiences. Thank you for walking with me today, both through these streets and through this topic. Don't forget to subscribe to The Road Growing Up for more conversations like this. Until next time, take care of yourself, keep growing, and remember, the best lessons often come from the hardest teachers.
Đủ 3 phút rồi đấy em ạ.